Hello everyone and welcome to the PDC. Basically, this PDC is based on what lessons we learned in the pandemic, what we had undergone, and what are the things that we should be remembering throughout. So let's start with the PDC. So these were our initial emotions when we went into pandemic. First of all, it's a very new name for our generation because we never came across anything which is called as pandemic. Something like this we never expected, never saw, or we never even bothered to Google it or think about it maybe because these things were not happening that regularly kind of. So once they said pandemic and then the Google research started, then the things started, and the initial fear, emotion which took place was fear. No, fear because it's something which is unknown and we don't know, what this was all about, how it happened, what started, and all. So the end result was we did everything that was told to us. Whoever told any kind of a remedy, anything that was told, maybe sanitization, washing hands. Some people went maniac kind of. They went on washing hands multiple times. You touch something, you go wash your hands or sanitize. Even we, for that matter, when we came into office the very first time, we were so paranoid about everything. We touched the table and we sanitized our hands and all. So there were a lot of things we were doing because we didn't know, maybe how the virus is or whatever it is. So somebody told us something, we would do it. Something came on the newspaper, something came on WhatsApp, we all did it. And that was all a result of panic and the fear which was taking place. So for us at that point of time, the main thing was survival because we don't know how it's spreading or how everything is happening. So if somebody is telling it was a lifesaver plan and we are going to go with it. So this initial fear was a lot of gave birth to a lot of other emotions also. When like if there was a rise in humanity, kind of people cared for one another. Suddenly there was a concern about the nature, and suddenly everything was beautiful. Different kind of things came up, but the initial emotion was the fear. So from that we moved on. There were a lot of things which happened. We Some people made dalgona coffee, some people made some other things. Gradually, as the fear started getting lesser, people started moving on to other methods like making memes, making fun of things. Some people went on to trolling unnecessary thing because there was a lot of time, and there was lockdown kind of period, and also different things came up. Here also, after the fear, a different emotion came up wherein everybody chose a different path. Some people went ahead and they chose the religion as a path wherein they thought spirituality or something will help, that will save them. Some people went on to completely not believing that there is something called as corona and all, whereas some people went on to helping other people and making other people's lives better. So there were different kinds of situations which came in, and here also fear was there, but to a certain extent. So after a certain period of time, the initial first 3 months, if you go to see, everybody was totally scared, and then the fear started reducing, and then the other behavior started coming in. So from that situation till now, it is gone on to a behavior of carelessness. So people sometimes don't believe that there is coronavirus. Some people believe there is something, or there is no need to panic so much. Some people, there were some cases when people even went ahead to see whether they would really get corona. So this kind of different situations came in. But what we should be doing is something we need to think of. Is it that we should believe that there is no corona, or there is no need to get scared of anything? No, you need to be mindful. You need to be careful of things. Yeah, if you feel or your friends feel that you don't need to get scared and you do all these things carelessly, you need to look around and see whether how the situations are. It's not normal. We are simply not wearing mask because it's fun, or there are new masks in the market and we need to just wear something to look cool or something like that. So you need to analyze the situation. You need to think how things are and accordingly act. So during this time, what it taught us was different. Okay, so there were different lessons that we learned during this Corona time. It's a pandemic, so everybody went back to basics because there was lockdown. There were minimum things available to us. So during that time, initially, I remember when the 21-day lockdown was announced, everybody rushed to the stores to get food and to stock it up for 21 days without caring, like, that other people might not get it. If it is us, we need this, we just stock it up for ourselves and do not care for anybody or do not share it with anyone. And that was a very dangerous situation because nobody thought logically. It was like only about me and my family that I have to think about. And they went ahead with that kind of a emotion. But during this period of time, as the lockdown was getting extended and all, people learned to live with the minimum. People even learned to make their grow their own vegetables and all. So there was a change, there was a shift in their mental thinking and all those things. Also, the hygiene part. Yes, we are all hygienic people. We are not saying that everybody is dirty or something, but we never went ahead and touched something and went and sanitized ourselves or washed our hands or did something. The minute you came out from somewhere, we did not go into the washroom directly to take a bath or something. But here, the hygiene was highlighted. A lot of things were taught to us. A lot of things we took for granted. Like, you might have just touched your bike, which was outside, and you would just pick up something and eat maybe when you are out or something. But now everybody became conscious, like it's become a default behavior. Like, if you touch something, you just sanitize your hand or you wash it and then eat something, or you touch something, or even when you're sneezing, like a common cold or flu, it was not looked at so dangerously. But now when if somebody sneezes without a mask, you will just run away from that person. So there are certain things, the hygiene bar has been raised. People are more conscious about it. So these are the basics that we have gone through. Even the health, like when we were walking, we were into the health related stuff. We were working but did not pay that much attention to health. One of the examples was, earlier I used to go for walks and all, and I used to see, like, few people cycling and all. Once the lockdown came in, after that we have seen the increase in the number of cyclists. It includes me too. But yeah, it made people more conscious. They wanted to go out and get healthy also, but make sure that they are not moving into crowds or something, but they are keeping themselves in a good condition and all. This also helped us in improving our communication with other people. A lot of time we ignored, we did not feel like, that we need to get in touch with other people, or we need to find out like how your friends are doing and all. But with this, many people started communicating with each other. The long lost friends of us, they started messaging, just keeping in touch, checking on each other. Also your grandparents, maybe your parents, the amount of communication that you all had during this period was way more than how much you have spent in the entire lifetime, maybe. Uh, I personally don't remember spending so much of time at home with my family since we started from school and all, because we used to be always out. We are going to school, we are going to work, we are out Saturday, Sundays, something or the other. But now we were completely in with them. We are listening to them, we are talking to them. Different things started communicating. So these are the important things which they taught. Like, you might have not realized that certain things are liked by your family member, or some way of communication, or something that they know of, or you never got time. Maybe you always got busy with something or the other. But this was the time when you could actually make bonds. People started making video calls. It was very rare, like, people wouldn't prefer a video call, but then they just wanted to see the other person. So this started making a good bond. Also, gratitude is one of the most important thing that everybody learned. Yes, now it's kind of again forgotten because people are again started to take things for granted. But gratitude is something that you should not forget. You should be always thankful for what you have, and also start thinking, like, instead of concentrating on what you don't have, if you concentrate on what you have, you will reach a greater heights. So try to be thankful to other people, the help that you receive, the food that you have, or the if you look back how much things you have. Now maybe you cried that you don't have a very fancy car, or you don't have the best of mobile. But in this past few months, did it really matter? The first 3 months, did it matter that you had a car or no? No, because you couldn't go anywhere even though you had a car. Even you had the fanciest mobile, you couldn't click anything. What you would click max to max, some sky photos or maybe your household photos or something. But that everything made you realize, like, how grateful you are for certain things that you have with you. Also, the unity and togetherness makes a difference. So when you're together, you can make some decisions, you can speak to each other, the emotional balance that you have, there is a lot of things that you can do. So it is not only about yourself, you also care about the environment, the nature that you have around you. So this makes you realize, like, there are smaller things which you need to concentrate on. Health is wealth. We have been listening to since childhood, but this was the time when we had to realize that really health matters. We were sitting, we were working all the time, but then what was happening to our health, we didn't know. There was food available after the lockdown. We just went on munching, eating all the time. Mentally, like, you don't know what is happening. You read news, you listen to the corona cases increasing day by day. Then once that was there, there was shift in the news, there was some other news coming in, you get involved in that, which was affecting your mental health. And from SGI also, we were telling people about the mental health, how to take care of it. But somewhere or the other, like, this we the other person cannot control your mental health all the time. It's your responsibility. So you had to take care of it, and now you know why it is important and how it is important. So during this time also, we had some wellness activities and all. Maybe some people felt like, it is not important, but those who actually attended it might have felt the difference, because a simple stretching in the middle of the day when you're sitting for 12 hours and working continuously can make a huge difference. So these smaller moments, the smaller activities make a huge difference, and that is what you need to realize during this time also. How you think and what you think is very important, because when you're into a position where you don't meet other people, you are limited to your family members, so 4 5 people, maybe you're having a call with somebody, but you are restricting yourself from the huge crowd, like. So that time, it's like, if suppose somebody in your family is a negative thinker, you would go on to that same mode. Or if your best friend is always thinking about something bad, you would think about that only. So positive thinking also helps. So you need to make the shift. So that is one thing we had learned during the lockdown and the pandemic thing, which is still not over. But we need to continue thinking about it, because one negative thought can promote a lot of negative thoughts, but one positive thought can change your life. So during work, when we were working also, there were a lot of lessons that we learned. So one of the most important thing is, like, you have to be human at all stages, not only at a certain time or at certain place or something. Meaning, if you're doing a charity, you don't need to show that you are a very humble person or something, and then you turn around and then you shout at the other person who's around you. You need to be human and humble, because you don't know what is the next stage, how uncertain things are. And when you're kind and good to other people, you get the same response from the others. And the most important thing is, the change can happen at any time. It can even happen overnight. Like how it happened, we didn't know. We were just expecting, like, oh, okay, something will happen, some vaccine will come in 1 month and everything will be fine. This will go in 1 week or something like that. But what happened was unimaginable. Luckily, like, we were prepared, we thought about it, we took our laptops and all. Imagine you couldn't take your laptops, there could be a lot of things which could happen. So change is very important, and that can take place anytime, so you have to keep your mind open to change. So many a times we have these restrictions in our mind, like, I don't want to change, this is my style. But that style of yours might not work, that way of thinking of yours might never work. So you need to keep this thing in mind, like, when somebody tells you something, you have to consider the change which will happen. Okay, panic is not the option. It is not an option when the pandemic is there, and it is not an option when the pandemic is over also. So sometimes it is natural to get panic. So a few minutes back, I was panicking because my system decided to give up just before the PDC when I had opened the presentation. But that time also you need to find a support system. Like I have found these people over here helping me out and just getting the system on or doing something or the other. So that is how you need to find out the option also. Because if I had to sit panicking alone over here, I wouldn't get the help and this PDC wouldn't happen. So also we don't have to wait for a pandemic worldwide to happen kind of things, you know. There can be smaller things which are happening and you need to learn from those things. So same way, like, you know, a project which is there of yours, it might fail, but you don't have to wait for it to fail completely. From one first step of the failure, you can learn a lot of things and you can avoid a lot of bad things happening to the project. So that is how you need to keep thinking. You must have learned a lot of lessons during the pandemic time, wherein a lot of things did not work out. But then with communication, with teamwork, or with other well-planned things, you could actually make things better. So you need to remember all these things, because once this stage is over, once our masks are gone, everything will be different. Everybody will take everything for granted again. But you have to remember these lessons for life. So how we tackled with the pandemic. So our concerns were there. Initially, we didn't know. So I still remember talking to Shaira in November and December, like, you know, how we could plan their trip and all those things. And then there were some concerns raised because in November there was this news somewhere far away. But we were not concerned because it wouldn't reach this stage, or we didn't expect anything like that. And suddenly everything changed in the month of March. People were panicking, but still here there were no cases, so we did not panic. And then suddenly over the one night, everything changed wherein the lockdown was announced and all. So we had some concerns in the initial stages wherein how members will work from home and all. But everybody was so supportive. The teamwork was smooth. Everything got settled faster, and that is where the change came in. That's where the communication came in, and that's where our culture came in. Because if we had not set up this culture, if we did not have this points identified that these are the things that we need to have, these are the people who need to have this behavior, we wouldn't have this. I strongly believe that some of the culture points which we speak about, that is put into each and every member's mind, and they are living by it. Obviously we don't have anybody who's not humble. If we had somebody who's not humble during this period, we would have extreme difficulties over there. So similarly the other points also. So I'm not going to go over each and every point, but if you think about it, I'll leave it up to you all, like, you know, think about it, like which points were actually there, how it helped you all during the whole pandemic. So this will help you reflect and be thankful to these colleagues of yours also. Also it's not over yet, but then it's getting normal. But the normal is not going to be the previous normal. It will be the new normal wherein new things have come in. If you go to see, a lot of new inventions came in, a lot of quick changes came in. The systems which were not there in place earlier, those came in quickly. The government strategies came in. So we did not have to actually wait for a pandemic to for these changes to happen actually. But with this pandemic, there were bad things, but there were a lot of good things which happened and which made us realize that a change is quick and a lot of things are helpful for us. Now, we are getting back, but there are a lot of questions like why we have to come to office. Uh, People might be thinking like, you know, everything worked so well for so many months. We were sitting at home, we were getting so much done and all. But do you realize that how much you worked, how much it affected your mental health? Now, when you come to office, what's the difference? Do you not like meeting other people, having some chit chat, some fun? Sometimes, like, you know, you're working extra, you're working very hard, but you couldn't reach out to that person physically and ask them something. But this made a difference. So you have to understand certain things, like, you know, by working from home, yes, you might be extremely productive, but what was happening to your health, what was happening to your mental health, a lot of things were getting affected, but you might not have realized because that you had accepted as a change, or you did not have the time for it. But now think about it, it's this is what makes a difference to you and how you feel about it. Now another thing is not everybody has the same lifestyle. You might be having AC at home, you might have hot food which your mom served, but not everybody might have the same thing. Someone might have a nagging wife, or somebody might have a noisy neighbor. Lot of things which gives external stress. But when you come to office, you have that space for yourself, you have that time, and you can concentrate on a lot of things. So that lifestyle also matters. Here you are all equal, you are all sitting together, you are having a different kind of a conversation, you are having little stress free. Yes, work stress would be there, but during the break time there is some stress relief, you could just do other things. So you need to realize these things. Also, you certain people who are introverts and all might not like socializing, but this, they also must have realized that how important it is to see other people. If even if you don't like to talk somebody, you can at least see, like, it's a different feeling when you are there. So there are different kinds of things which are happening in life and which you need to observe and acknowledge it. Okay, so that was a very short presentation from me.